Like most kids growing up in the early 2000s, I remember to find out about games, you had to walk into a game store and just see what was on the shelf. If you were lucky enough to subscribe to like a magazine or watch videos online, then yeah, you could find out about games there. But growing up, I never had access to those due to the fact that I wasn't the most richest kid on the planet. However, I do remember commercials on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network were frequent. And I remember this specific one. It was for the game Blob. I only remember the narrator saying Blob. I don't have any recollection of anything else in that commercial. I did own this game at one point in time. But much like the commercial, I don't remember too much about it. So I thought that, it'd be fun to talk about it. I don't have that much memory of it, so it'd be fresh in my mind, and it looks good. And so I think that's what we'll talk about today. And without any further ado, I say we jump right into Blob. Blob is a kid's game all about restoring the color to a city drained of all forms of color. The city was recently vibrant and happy, but a fascist group called the Inked Corporation have come in and they have decided to drain the entirety of the city's color and are doing some truly evil things, like taking away joy, banning music, indoctrinating citizens, and preventing any kind of freeform thought. So basically, this is just a coloring book turned into a video game. And it's not that bad of a concept. It's really cool, especially for a kid's game. And look, I get it. This is a kid's game. It's bright, it's silly, but because it's made for kids, that doesn't mean it isn't immune to criticism. In fact, I'd argue the opposite. Kids deserve great games. In my opinion, it's alright for a kid's game. So let me unpack what I mean when I say Blob is alright. When I use that word, I'm mainly talking about two key areas: the gameplay and the controls. We'll talk about appearance later. Gameplay-wise, Blob has a simple but solid core loop. You move from one gray, lifeless city sector to another, collecting colors from paint tanks and splashing them all over the buildings, the trees, and the landmarks. The more color you spread, the better your score, and the more areas and missions you get to do in the future. Along the way, you'll be taking on challenges like painting buildings a specific color, racing against the clock, or battling the enemies, all while gradually freeing the citizens and restoring life to the world. It's a loop that encourages you to explore every inch of the map, and it's genuinely satisfying in a low-stakes, almost therapeutic kind of way. Now, this is very much a kid's game, so yes, it is a bit on the easier side, and that's totally fine. Not every kid's game needs to be sweaty or a high-intensity death gauntlet. Sometimes you just want to vibe and paint the town red. Quite literally. But one thing I won't say is okay is the controls, especially for kids who may not be the best at controlling video games. And remember, for the sake of this argument, I'm playing the Wii version here. So we're deep in motion control. Blob here is a bit floaty, especially when you're in the air, which can make platforming sections a bit more annoying than they need to be. But the main issue I have has to be the motion controls. Look, I know this is a Wii game, I know motion controls were the gimmick, but replacing every basic action with a Wiimote shake, that's not innovation. If you ever want to know why there's a negative stigma against motion controls, it's because of games that force them in. You want to make a jump? You gotta shake the Wii remote. You want to attack? Shake the Wii remote. You want to breathe? Shake the damn Wii remote. Now, don't get me wrong, motion controls can be used effectively in some games. Gyro aiming is a great example. But using motion controls just to replace a button input doesn't necessarily add anything. It's just kind of there, thrown in. In Blob, the shaking isn't immersive or groundbreaking in the slightest. I get it, it's on the Wii, and they're trying to use the Wii controls to make it feel like you're doing more than you're actually doing. But is there really that much of a difference between shaking the Wii remote and pressing the A button? That said, there is fun to be had here. The act of painting the city is relaxing. It's like a coloring book, and that's great. Watching the world shift from grayscale to vibrant is awesome, and it does look good. And as you bring back color, you're freeing the city's citizens, unlocking new areas, and gaining access to new challenges. It's not the deepest gameplay loop in the world, but it does what it does, and it does it pretty well. Now, I do want to go ahead and talk about the presentation of the game. And mind you, all this is subjective, so if you don't agree with me here, that's totally okay. The Blob has a certain art style that reminds me a bit of the Rayman Raving Rabbids era of design. If you're familiar with that, you'll know what I mean. It's a kind of exaggerated, cartoonish energy that feels aimed squarely at younger audiences. It's not bad by any means, but personally, it's not my favorite style. It's that same kind of tone you'd see in things like the Minions or modern mascot-driven marketing. Loud, expressive, and a bit hyperactive. That said, I don't think the art direction is inherently flawed. It just didn't leave a strong impression with me at all. Most of the characters in the game follow that kind of art style, but I don't find any of them to be compelling visually. They're serviceable, but they're not especially memorable. There is, though, one exception. That being the inked soldiers you fight. They stand out thanks to their expressive animations and over-the-top reactions. In cutscenes, they're often shown as angry, controlling, and being frustrated in a way that gives them more personality and makes them seem a whole lot more goofy. It adds a bit of charm and makes their presence feel more meaningful throughout the game. One of the Blob's strongest visuals, in my opinion though, has to be how it reacts to your progress. At the start of each level, everything is completely desaturated and still. But as you paint buildings and bring back color, the environment transforms. People return to the streets, the music becomes livelier, and the entire area begins to feel alive again. It's a good visual feedback loop because you get to see your actions reflect in real time, and it gives a good sense of progress. It makes restoring the city feel rewarding. It's a simple idea, but it's executed well, and it ties perfectly with the game's core theme of restoring the world. And it's really good for a kids game. Lots of kids may not enjoy games that aren't very reflective in what they're doing. This game is great at being that visual feedback for them, especially when it teaches them that, hey, this world benefits from your existence. The Blob is a platformer that, when it first came out, definitely had its fair share of problems because it was secluded on the Wii. It's not perfect by any means, but it's far from the worst game out there, especially the worst kids game out there. I don't quite agree with the near universal 9 out of 10 scores it often gets, but it's not a bad game. If I had to give it a numbering score, it'd probably be 7 out of 10 on the Wii and 8 out of 10 on the Steam version. It's laid back, it's a chill experience that many players, especially younger ones, or someone looking for something a bit easier, will likely enjoy. Like I said, it has a Steam re-release, so it's easier than ever to play this game without having to deal with the frustrating motion controls that bog down the Wii version. Like I said, I don't hate this game at all, but personally I won't be playing it that much more. I don't think it's bad, it just didn't hold my attention that long. And in today's modern day, it can be kind of hard to get a kid's attention when they have things like TikTok for their phone or Fortnite for any kind of PlayStation they have. It genuinely feels as if this was made way back in the time in which platformers were the go-to for younger audiences. But overall, I think it's a fine game, and if you do see it or you want to buy the Steam version, it's not that bad. You could do a whole lot worse.